How are you finding the balance between making the content you want to make and trying to still make content that feeds the algorithm as well? Must be a tough balance if you want to grow. Yes. You always come in heavy. Miley Cyrus with the wrecking ball. Just simple but deep. I always appreciate questions like that. This is something I've been wrestling with for some time. I think the wrestling really began in 2021. 2021, I think, is when I really decided, you know what, I want to accelerate the growth of my channel. But I was also becoming increasingly frustrated with the content that I was seeing around the space and not wanting to do the things it required to grow, at least at the rate that a lot of my peers were growing. So I found myself stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It's like, I want to grow, but I want to do what I want to do. And that's exactly what your question is pertaining to. So it's like, what do you do? My goal slowly became, you know what? There's this area and there's this area. I'm going to carve a space down the middle. I'm going to carve my own path. Now think about it. Carving, that takes some work. And it's like, I'm just going to get my pickaxe and just carve through this thing. And in my mind, you know, it's worth the effort. I would rather make my own path, knowing that I'm making content that is true to me and what I want to say and what I want to put out into the world. I'd prefer to put that effort in rather than let me just do what's been laid out, do what's easy, do what the people want to see, so to speak. That makes it sound like it was very simple. Like, okay, then you just started carving the middle path and it's been easy breezy, lemon squeezy, dandelions and butterflies ever since. No, it has not. It has been a challenge. It's been up and down, but I would say it's mostly been up for a few reasons. Number one, because I have still seen growth in my channel. So that goal is still being achieved. Success is never a destination. I'm just like succeeding every time I try, little by little. And it always looks different. It doesn't always mean everything's going great. It can even just mean effort. Success can just come as a result of effort, no matter where that effort goes. So I have seen growth. That's a big plus. Another plus is that I feel like I'm being true to myself, which I think we all would rather do. We would all rather be our authentic selves for the world rather than being some kind of caricature or facade of something that we think people will like. There's a lot of that on YouTube. There's enough of that. I don't feel like I need to contribute to any of that because knowing myself, I would not be able to be at peace and just look myself in the mirror and go to sleep at night and keep producing videos knowing that I'm not really putting me out there. So to answer your question, Sir Sillage, it is a tough balance. What I've had to try to do is package what I want to say inside of something that I think people want to see. It's like putting the pill in the treat to give to your dog, so to speak. I don't mean to make it sound manipulative or conniving or villainous or any way. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's kind of what naturally unfolded. The algorithm is based so much on the presentation of a video, what people see as a thumbnail, what they see in the title. That is what people get before they click on it. So that thing has to be clickable. It has to be what people would want to click. There has to be some kind of promise or something being offered that will then be fulfilled when they click on the video. But the thing is, when they do click on that video, my hope and intention is that what they're getting is much more than what they bargained for, much more than what they were expecting. There's more depth. It's a deeper cave. There's a more rich and fertile soil. It's not just the crust. It's not just surface level. I don't want to just say 10 fragrances to get you compliments. There's way more to it than that. And that's just not very creative. I feel like we can just be more creative than that. So that's what I strive to do. I try to spin that in a different way, turn it so you see it from a different perspective and it looks different and add more underneath it. Now, sometimes I just go completely down my path and I make content that I just need to get this off my chest. And guess what? That content doesn't get a lot of traffic. And I kind of know that going in. I'm always hopeful. I hope that this will present itself as something different to people's timelines or their feeds, and they will want to click on something different. That's not always the case, but some of you guys watching here, you do that. You do follow my slightly off the beaten path content. You support what I call the real Justin in terms of how I present this content on YouTube. So I do appreciate that. I think that's all I have to say. I feel like I've depleted my brain resource for answering that question, but I think I got everything out there I wanted to say. That's the nuts and bolts. That's the nitty gritty. I like to get deep. I like to talk about the things that really matter. The last thing I want to do is communicate that fragrances don't matter. They're fun. They're pleasant. They can bring some joy, but they're not everything. And that is irony in its purest form, coming from a fragrance content creator, coming from a fragrance enthusiast. Yes, I can easily say fragrances are not everything. And I try to communicate that in different ways throughout my content, in addition to giving you guys cool scents to continue to explore and develop your palate and experience some beautiful stuff that you may not have heard of. So